welcome back to the Unravel with Me podcast. My name is Mandy, and this is episode 2. In this podcast, I like to talk about any new projects that I've finished, any works in progress, any projects I want to work on in the future, and any yarn that I've accumulated throughout the week. So let's get started. This week was very productive. I have one major finished object, and that is my Starburst Granny Square blanket with yarn from Moonglow Yarn Co. And if you watched episode 1, I was showing that I just needed some yarn to finish off the border and then weave in all my ends. And so that episode I recorded last Friday. It's been a week and a day. Today is Saturday, March 7th now. But I did it all Friday night. When I got done recording, went upstairs, I finished my border. This thing is massive. I weaved in all of my ends. I am so proud. And it is just gorgeous. There's 120 different colors in this, all hand dyed by Moonglow Yarn Co. And I'll post links in the comments below. But this yarn was from a yearly rainbow club that she had in 2025. And each month she sent out a bundle of yarn. So for January, she sent out 10 different shades of red. And then she did that each month. February, March was like corals, April oranges, yellows, and then into the greens and teals and blues and purples. And then she ended the year in these beautiful chocolates and grays, and it's just, I absolutely love everything about this blanket. So I joined, she did a yearly where you got a bundle every month, and I joined a little late to the game. She opened up some later quarterly subscriptions, so I got mine every 3 months. I went into detail in episode 1 about how my year went and switching back and forth between projects, and I am so happy that I went back to the original that she was actually doing, because I kept trying to deviate, do my own thing, and it just did not work. What she had done was absolutely perfect. I did use a join as you go with the same granny square clusters, and then I just added one square at a time. It would have been really easy to keep up with had I done that all year long, but I really did not get going on this again until November. I had ripped it out, started all over again. So from November until last Friday night, I just worked full force on this blanket. I crocheted them all. I used a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook for these, and let's see, what did I do? A 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. Oh, and it's DK weight yarn. I'll put the measurements down below of how big it ended up being, but it is absolutely amazing. I could not love this blanket anymore. It's gorgeous. It's soft. I love her yarns. I have not washed it yet, so I will do that. I've had quite a bit of her yarn in the past for socks and things like that, and I'll throw color catchers in there and they have not bled. So the yarns have not bled. So it's pretty outstanding. So I'm really not too worried about that. I'm just having so much fun it's been draped across our couch upstairs, and I just love looking at it. It brings me so much joy when I walk by it. So I'm really happy with that. And I finished it for February. So this was my February whip that, let's get it out of here. So I'm really proud of that. Now, for works in progress, towards the end of the week, so I finished that Friday. So Saturday, I pulled out the sweater that I'm working on for my middle daughter, Jordan. And I had shown that, and I wasn't very far along, but the rest of the week until really 2 nights ago, I just went full force on this sweater. Every time I had a chance to sit and knit, I did, and I worked on this sweater. I am really excited. So I'm working on the Be Thankful cardigan by Lily Kate France. And it was really intimidating because it's my first like cardigan style sweater of not going in the round. I did a raglan type sweater earlier this year, and it was just, you know, once you get past the shoulders, then you just break for the sleeves and it's just in the round knitting, and it was super easy. This is a lot of slip stitching and purling, and I am a whiz at purling now. I'm so excited. But anyway, I put a progress marker on this. So last week, it's a bottom up. So this is the bottom here. And this is where I was. And this is all that I did this week. And then the shoulders. So I have, this is actually my second sleeve here on the needles. And the first, it's facing me. Here's the first sleeve. So it's a big balloon sleeve, and then the ribbed cuff. So here we go. So that's mainly what I worked on all week. And I have progress pictures on my Instagram, which is Unravel With Me podcast. And you can see those there. Unfortunately, I have it laying up on my ottoman, and it kind of blends in with the ottoman for our couches upstairs, which also kind of blends in with our carpet. So I think I might need to get a new backdrop when I actually take pictures, and not lay it on the ottoman. But I just kind of throw it off me, take pictures, and that's what we ended up with. So if you want to check those out, they're over on Instagram. But like I said, I'm doing the Be Thankful cardigan. I did a size 3, and Jordan is very petite. She is just at 5 foot. No broad shoulders, nothing like that. She's super tiny. And I don't understand. Like, I went to the yarn shop yesterday, and she so kindly explained to me. So there's supposed to be a 9 to 11 positive ease. So I measured Jordan's bust size, not thinking about how it was going to widen the entire thing. And so anyway, I'm doing a size 3, and the lady was like, you should probably go to a size 1. So I'm going to give this to my older daughter, Kaylin, who is 5'7", 5'8", and much taller, and it fits cropped on her because on Jordan it goes past, it's not cropped at all. So anyway, this is gonna go to Kaylin. So this I am making out of this wonderful Baracco. I had it so wrong on the last video, but I corrected myself. It's Baracco, and it's vintage DK. It's not written on here, but it's vintage DK. And this one, let's see, it is 52% acrylic, 40% wool, and 8% nylon. And then I'm also holding it together with a Leading Men mohair. It's a lace weight. The Leading Men lace weight, Super Kid mohair, and 28% mulberry silk. So that is very interesting. I'm right at the end. Oh, it fell down. Okay, I'm at the end. I have to wind another ball of the vintage DK. So anyway, this is the mohair. It's just, so I'm holding these two together. And I believe this isn't even DK. Oh my gosh. I've been running around saying this is DK. This is a worsted, which makes sense. That's what the pattern calls for, is worsted weight. And then I just added in this. But anyway, it's super soft and fluffy. But also when Jordan tried it on the other day, I had her try it on to measure the sleeves and see where I should start putting the cuff on. And she instantly like started scratching her arm. And I was like, is it itchy? And she says, no, I don't think so. And so then I was like, hold on, put it back on. I had her try it. I was checking the shoulders, all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, do you really want it to fit like this? And because it's also going to have a ribbed band around the neck and the front. And it's supposed to have buttons, but it's going to be so big around her, she would never button it. It's going to look like she took her grandpa's sweater and put it on, which is totally a look. It's fine, but that's not the look that we were going for. So anyway, she tried it on again, and when she tried it on, she instantly starts scratching again. I was like, okay, like, because I don't mind making another one because she really loved the colors in this, but because it was so itchy for her, I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. I had my younger daughter, who's about the same size as her, but she likes really oversized sweaters. And then I had my oldest daughter try it on today, and neither of them were bothered by the mohair or the whatever was going on. But Jordan was not having it. So this sweater, I'm hoping I'll have done by the next video. But I'm not sure how my recording schedule is going to go. I'd like to release either Mondays or Fridays. I thought if I record on Fridays and then release it on Mondays, that would keep me on a good schedule and it would give me the weekend to edit. But committing to recording every Friday might be a little difficult, but we'll see. I'm not too worried about it. But this project is being housed in this gorgeous bag that I made. These are my initials, ARW. And for a while, I was rescuing quilts from antique shops and Goodwill when I found them and making bags out of them. And this was one of them, and it's perfect for that sweater. So anyway, that's staying in there. And let's go on to my next work in progress is the Cozy Comfort Throw that I'm making. And this one is by a homespun house. If you don't watch her videos, go check her out. Her yarn is gorgeous, and she's over in Germany. So I love watching her podcast, especially her Vlogmas was really fun to watch because she went to a lot of festivals and she would talk about little desserts and things like that. And her house is just so cozy. And anyway, she's a dyer, and this was her pattern. Oh my goodness. It's stuck on my little dinosaur progress guy. So this, I'm in the middle of a row. Awesome. That's super helpful for sewing. So let's find my progress keeper. Oh, here he is, my little dinosaur. So this is where I was at the, oh, there's dogs barking outside. This is where I was at the end of the last episode. So I did get a couple rows in there, and this is the color I'm on now. So I was showing that, so this is yarn by Little Wolf Knits, and it was a 30-day Schitt's Creek countdown that I purchased from her, and I'm holding that yarn with a single strand. These are both fingering weight, and this is just a bare, it's also that Baracco vintage yarn, just in a fingering weight, and then it gives this pretty like marled effect. Anyway, it's a 30-day countdown, and so far I've wound the first 15 days into, there's 5 days in a ball, and then I put it on here, it winds. So I started with day 5 was the first one I wound, and then went up. So now it comes like this. If I forgot and I started pulling from the center, then it would be day 5 would be first. And luckily I have not done that, but for now, it's on here. And then I have 2 more balls upstairs in my yarn cabinet wound that are days 6 through 10 and 11 through 15. And then once I'm done with that, I'll wind the rest. But I've looked at days 1 through 15. It was an advent calendar style countdown. So they were all pre-packaged, so you could open one a day. And I don't have that kind of control. So I opened all of 1 through 15 the first day I got them, and they're just gorgeous. I'm so excited. I'm watching a couple other people that are working on this blanket right now, and it's just straight knitting. Knit back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's so lightweight and squishy. It's amazing. I am so excited for that. So that's the only other project I worked on this week. And just to show, I have this is my little magnetic. I'm not sure if you've seen these, but it's absolutely amazing. It just magnetizes, and then I can spin my yarn and it just gently takes it off of there. And this I got at my local yarn shop, and it's I'm not sure if you can see, there we go. Likey or like, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but it's awesome. I love it. And it keeps my yarn from tangling. I only have the one on there. My mom did show me that there are doubles. So if I wanted to, there is one. So when you're holding the yarn's double, or I could have just wound my yarn together, I guess, but it's really fine. I have a little yarn cozy that I made. This little cats in astronaut helmets. Anyway, it just keeps my yarn together, and then I'm doing a center pull on that one. And they're not getting tangled. It's just straight knitting. So that's been super easy. So that's my last work in progress. And so now let's move on to acquisitions. So this week I got quite a bit of yarn that I wasn't planning on, but it's because of that sweater. So let's start with that. Jordan and I went out to the yarn shop yesterday. So I live in the St. Louis area. There's a lovely shop close to us called Seven Sisters Yarn, where I get quite a bit of my yarn and needles from. And that one is closer to us. And then there's another one a little bit further away, and they're called YarnCom. They're quite a bit larger, and they have a lot of classes. They have a lot of meetups, and the owners of both places and all the workers are absolutely fantastic. I could not be more happy with our local yarn shops. Anyway, when I went out there yesterday, she was helping me pick out yarn that would work well for this sweater based on my daughter, because she was with me and so she could see her size. I showed her the pattern I was doing, and so she showed me a couple worsted weights. I'm not going to hold this one double. I'm not going to use mohair. I'm not going to do anything like that. But Jordan picked out one of my favorites, Malabrigo, and this is Malabrigo Rios, and it's part of the astrological series. This is the color Cancer. So I'm not sure if you can really see. It's kind of like a little yellowy there, a little darker there, some tans and browns. It's a very subtle effect. So I think it's going to give her a look not similar to what I'm doing for the other one, but it's not going to be a solid color. So that was very exciting. And I'm going to do a size 1. So I needed 400, oh my gosh, no. I need, for a size 1, let's see, we needed 824 yards of yarn, and each one of these has 210. So I only need 4. I think I'm on ball 5 of the other yarn that I'm doing right now. So that was nice. So only need 4. So I got 4 of those. So I'm excited to get those all wound up. And if you're not familiar with Malabrigo, let me see. they don't, you can't, like Malabrigo.com will show you all the colors and all the information, but the last time I checked, I don't believe you can purchase yarn from there. You buy it through retailers. So I've gotten mine through Jimmy Bean's Wool. I've gotten it through Bee Woolen, and I was really strapped for one more color that I couldn't find locally. I bought it on Amazon. I wasn't too thrilled with that, but it's all over. And then our local yarn shops sell it too. So anyway, I was lucky to find these in the colors that Jordan, she liked. She wanted something very neutral. So this is going to be perfect. So I was going to wind them tonight, but I'm not going to, because I know if I wind them, I'm going to want to start knitting. So the sweater I showed you, I'm using size 5.5 and size for the actual sweater. And then for all the ribbing, I'm using size 4. I'm using Chow-Gu, I can't talk. I'm using Chow-Gu circular interchangeable needles. So luckily I do have fixed Chow-Gus in both of those sizes, but I'm not going to pull them out. I'm going to force myself to finish the sleeve. All I have to do is finish that one sleeve, and I'm halfway done with the main part, and then I'll have the ribbing, and then I'll need to do the ribbing around the whole thing. So maybe tomorrow? I don't know. We're supposed to have a nice day tomorrow, so we'll see what I end up doing. So that's that. And then while we were out there, there was a yarn dyer having a trunk show, and she had fiber, she had so many cute yarns, and it's called the Purling Squirrel. The Purling Squirrel. Look at this. I got the fingering weight, thepurlingsquirrel.com. She's also on Instagram and Facebook. And this is 90% merino, and the color is Pussycat, hand dyed in Texas. But this is absolutely gorgeous. I have no idea what I'm gonna make with it. I think I might make a muscle burrow hat. I think that would be really fun. I have a white coat for winter that, I mean, I wore it once when I went to Chicago this winter. I don't wear my coat very often, but if I did, this would look really cute with it. So anyway, I'm excited about that. So that was those were all from Yarn.com, our local yarn shop. And then the final yarn that I got is part of the Charlie Brown series that I am getting every month. It is not an automatic subscription. I have to go into Etsy. I already placed my order for March, which I'll get at the end of the month. But when I was recording my last video last Friday, my February yarn came, and each month she's doing a person from Charlie Brown. She did an advent calendar. I also spoke more about this in my last video, so I won't go into a lot of details about it, but it's stitching with yarn. And she did an advent calendar, which I was late to the game for. So I didn't see it. I wrote her. She told me she was doing these monthlies this year and that I could check those out. So every month I go in and I'm so excited. January was Charlie Brown, and this month was Sally. February was Sally. And then March is Peppermint Patty. So I'm really excited. I went in and placed my order. So anyway, you can get just the single skein of the main color, or you can get the set with a mini. So I got those. The first bundle that she released in January was for Charlie Brown. Well, it was for Snoopy and Charlie Brown in Woodstock. And so the color, it might have just been Snoopy in Woodstock. I believe it was just Snoopy and Woodstock. Either way, it was red, white, and black, and then yellow and black was the coordinating, and then there was a red with black speckles. So there were 3 different yarns, and I'm making socks each month, so I kind of want them to look alike, like identical actually. So this, like I said, this is the set for this month. And then I went in and I picked out a third, there's a hair on it. I picked out a third color that I thought might look good with them. And I think this is gonna be good. And I did the same thing for February. I got the sock set or the bundle. And so this is Sally, February 2026, and socks. Sock set, fingering weight yarn. Yep. Stitching with yarn. And then this is the color burgundy. So Kinsley, my youngest, and we just went on her Etsy shop and I let her go through the colors, and they had a darker blue and Kinsley liked the burgundy. So for March, I just picked one out. I did it while she was at school because I did not want to forget to place that order. But they're all pre-orders, so I placed my order. I'll get it the end of March. But I did not make any progress on my Charlie Brown socks. But since this is only episode 2, I do have them with me. I'm keeping all of it in this cute bag once it's wound. But this was January's. And maybe there wasn't. Sorry, I said there was black in there, but there's not. It was just red. And then the yellow had some black in it. So that was January. And I'm making socks 2 at a time. I'm doing the Crazy Sock Lady vanilla socks. And I used her tutorial. I've done these before a couple times, 2 at a time on circulars. So that's where we're at with those. And again, I spoke more about all of my works in progress on episode 1 if you want to check that out. So I won't go into a ton of details like I've said probably 3 times now. But with those each month, I'm going to make a pair of socks. I'm going to give my daughter the socks at the end of the year. And then with the leftover yarn, I'm going to make some sort of a blanket. I haven't decided what blanket I want to make, but that's a problem for another day because I have so many works in progress. So that's where we're at for this week. I'm so glad you joined us. And if you like my channel, subscribe, all the things. I'm hoping to get on a regular schedule like I'd mentioned before and figure out what works with us. And hopefully, so far it kept me accountable because all week I was like, oh, do I have time to work on this sweater? I want to really have some progress done. And I felt like looking forward to making this podcast to show my progress. It just kept me going all week. It kept me really pushing on the pedal to get this sweater done. So I'm hoping, and this is my March work in progress. So if I could finish that early, then I can work. Honestly, I can work on whatever I want, but it would allow me the freedom to, really work on other things or maybe start a new project. Maybe Jordan's sweater. Is that really a new project though? Because technically, that's where, maybe it's not a new project because it's technically what I was working on. It just wasn't working out. So I like to make excuses for myself and I'm starting to babble. So we need to wrap this up. But thank you so much for joining us for episode 2. I hope to see you soon. And please comment below what you're working on and where you're watching from. I'd love to see where everyone's coming from. Hope you have a wonderful week and see you soon.